Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina. As you can tell from my gear today, it's cold. It's cold. It's supposed to be a high of about 11. So the garage is a little cold. I do have a fire roaring, but that only does so much when you're trying to heat an area this large. Anyway, let's get to the point. I found something kind of neat I want to share with you guys, another CB related item. But I haven't seen anything like this in quite a long time. Came with a pile of old radios that I picked up at a yard sale in the fall, and I just now got around to going through it. This is a Newmark antenna coupler, CB160. Here's a close-up picture of it here, and this is the front, and this is the back of it, and I'll kind of go over what all this is. And it's really an unusual piece. So when the CB craze was winding down, there were certainly people who wanted to have CB radios in their car, but for whatever reason they didn't want to have an antenna visible on the car. And I can understand that. There's really no good-looking CB antenna. I don't care what other people think of me as I drive down the street, so it doesn't bother me to have 36 inches or 54 inches or even 102 inches of steel rod sticking off the back of my car. But I can understand. You know, my wife, she hates the idea of having an antenna on her car. So I get it. Anyway, that is where this product came in. There were several versions of this. I remember one, I think, being sold by Radio Shack, but I can't be sure. It might have been Cobra, it might have been Craco. I really don't remember. It's been so many years since I've seen something like this. Anyway, what it does is it allows you to, on the one end, hook into your CB radio here. And on this end, hook into your, on this end, hook into your car stereo. And then on the back of this unit, right here, it has an input. And what you would do is take the antenna that comes with your car, the AM/FM stereo antenna, you would plug it into this, and it combines and splits the signal. And why it does both? Well, it splits the signal so that this channel is isolated, this goes to your car stereo. So your AM/FM antenna works as it would normally, and your car radio works as it would normally. The other end, which is the splitter and combiner, now is taking the signals coming to and fro the CB, combining that with the antenna and sending it out the same AM/FM antenna that came with your car from the factory. It's great, it works. The issue is AM/FM antennas made for car radios, they're nowhere near the right height or the right amount of coilings in order to work for CB radio. You could probably receive some signals, but if you transmitted for very long, you'd burn out your radio. And that's where the coupler, the tuning part of this comes in. And if you can see here, this dial, again, I'll show you the close-up picture of it, but that dial there allows you to tune, basically match your AM/FM car radio antenna so it would work in the transmit and receive section of your CB radio. And that was a pretty cool thing. Of course, there is one giant downside, and that is that it's not designed specifically for either task now. You have a radio antenna that's not really going to be very tall. The average car radio antenna maybe 20 inches, 24 inches at most back in the day. And your loading coil, which would be your base-mounted loading coil on a CB radio or mid-mount or even top-mounted, that's actually going to be here, and that places it inside the vehicle. So the amount of power that actually makes it out into the world when you're transmitting is greatly reduced. When you have to match a signal so it's compatible from this radio's frequency to an AM/FM antenna, you're matching it by reducing the amount of power that goes out. A lot of it gets lost in a device like this. So these did have some popularity. I mean, there were certainly quite a few of them installed over the years. But because of the fact that they really put a crimp on what a radio, which is already only putting out 4 watts of power, can do, they never became very popular because of that. They just, they had very limited range, a mile or two at most. And so people thought, I have a crummy radio or whatever, and they kind of gave up on the hobby. However, there's still use for something like this. If you had a classic car restoration and you wanted to have a CB in that car, but you didn't want to have it visible, drilling holes in the bumper or whatnot, certainly this would be something you could use. Good luck trying to find one. Again, this is a Newmark CB160 antenna coupler, but I know there were a bunch of different name brands. You could try Antenna Tuner, or more likely for CB, you would have to find something that said CB Antenna Tuner, or Antenna Matcher. That would be another thing. But basically, you'd be looking for something that had the PL259 connector on one end, and this is sort of an RCA connector on this end, but basically your car stereo coaxial radio connector. So that's it. I want to share that with you. Of course, if you're going to use this and going to use a tuner, it had a light on there that was supposed to kind of line you up to tell you when your SWRs were low. I don't have the manual for this. Most of them you had to use your SWR meter like this one here, and you would tune it, then take that out of the loop and have this set up. Anyway, that's it. I'm Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina. Hope you enjoyed the video. Kind of something different. Definitely CB related, but you're not likely to come across this very often. If you do have a car that you'd like to have a CB radio on, but you don't want to have the antenna visible, that's what you need. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again next time. Take care.